All right, well, welcome everybody. If you have never seen the movie 10, you might want to check it out. This episode is number 10 of Brass Brains, which is why I thought we would feature Bolero. So it's a little musical joke there. What I want to talk about today is Wim Hof. If you're not familiar with Wim Hof, he's a Dutch kind of extreme athlete who's known for withstanding the cold and doing things in ice water, like taking ice baths or even swimming under frozen water or in frozen water. He holds all these world records for doing these crazy things, and now he's, at least the last couple of years, he's produced this method that he claims is how he's done all these things. What intrigued me about the man, if you will, and the method is that it involves a lot of breathing. And as a brass player, I was kind of immediately intrigued by what would happen if I tried the breathing exercises, and would there be some kind of benefit for my playing. So to explain a little bit about what the breath exercise is, if you've never seen any of these videos on YouTube, for instance, you could pause this, go find one, or you could stick with me here and I'll go through one of them at least with you. There's lots of free stuff on YouTube, which is how I initially got interested, and I did that for a while. And then I've since sort of signed up for one of his programs called the Fundamentals, and I've been doing this for about going on 6 weeks now. So this is like almost like a daily practice. And I will say that doing the practice has extreme benefits to it, and I want to get into it more about what those benefits are. But before we go any further, I want to introduce myself. My name is Graham, and I play in the Tamalpais Brass Quintet. And this is a show called Brass Brains, where we often do funny things. But today we're going to do something a little bit more, not serious, but just more informative, more educational, so that this could be a place where you could learn something today. And so we're going to talk about Wim Hof, we're going to talk about the breathing, and I want to start by doing one exercise with you, and you can follow along with me, and then I'll kind of explain what I think, at least, the benefits of it are for playing an instrument. It could be the trumpet, which is what I play, or it could be really for any wind instrument. And when you take your breath in, you're going to inhale from your belly to your chest to your head all the way up, and then let the air go. And I say let the air go, meaning you're not blowing the air out using any kind of muscle. So you just take the air in, belly, chest, head, and let go. Something that's at least will visually be helpful to use is I have Wim Hof's app here on my iPad. And while we're doing this exercise, I will use something that's free on the app. And again, if this is interesting to you, check this out. This is called the breathing bubble. And what it does, it's basically just like a timer. So there's a sequence that you're going to do with these big inhales. You're going to do 30 breaths. And then at the end of it, it's going to be a breath hold. So you take say you're on breath number 30, you're inhaling, you exhale fully to 0, and you're going to hold there for as long as you can. I'm going to tap the screen when I'm done holding, and it will kind of time it. And that time is something that on maybe your first round, it might not be super long, but as you do these rounds longer and longer, you will see that retention time, is what he calls it, increase quite a lot. After the breath hold, you're then going to take a big breath in, and you're going to hold that in your body for about 15 seconds. So again, all this stuff is on this app, and especially this breathing bubble, it's super helpful to kind of use it as you're doing the practice. And again, if you're interested, it's free. You can download it, and this breathing bubble is free. So let's just do one round here. I'll tap breathing bubble. I'll hit start now. And next is the option of, can you do it with him talking or not? I'm going to say yes so that you can hear it, and we'll start right away.
Fully in and letting go. Breathe in, breathe out. Go with the flow of the breath. In, out. Whenever you feel flexed, lightheadedness, loosiness. Breath hold from now on. Be aware of your heartbeat, fingertips to the base of your neck and head. Take a deep breath in and hold. 2, 1, and let go.
So normally I would go through multiple rounds. That was just one. As I said, the first retention time was 45 or so seconds. And then as you keep doing them, what's happening is your whole system is becoming more oxygenized, more oxygen in your body, more oxygen in your blood, more oxygen everywhere. And so you actually can hold your breath for much longer. Your retention times just naturally increase. It's actually not very difficult to do. As a secondary thing, I find actually when I'm laying down, on the ground, the more relaxed you are doing this exercise, the better. And you'll find that you can hold your breath for even longer because your body is more relaxed. So the first thing I guess that I learned about doing these exercises is that in terms of breathing and playing, the more relaxed you are, this sounds obvious because we've all learned this, many people have learned this, but the more relaxed you are on your inhales, the easier it's going to be to take the breath in. And I've heard so many teachers talk about this, and it's one of these things where it depends on how you're hearing it in that time, in that lesson, for instance. But there's something about almost like learning this method from someone who has nothing to do with the trumpet, that it sort of hit me in a different way to take my inhales in a super relaxed way, with the goal being that that's going to get me the most oxygen that I could possibly get. And of course, that's a little more difficult when you're kind of in the middle of playing your, phrase, or you're 5/6 of the way down an etude, or perhaps a difficult excerpt. But it's such an important thing to remember that is a really important component of how we're going to breathe and how we want to play. So that's one thing that I've learned, and I feel like is a beneficial element.
That sounds good to me.
The second thing is the actual movement of the air as you do these rounds, these 30 breaths, or possibly sometimes I go up to 40. The app takes you to 40, and your whole body just feels opened up. And if you've done, for instance, like the breathing gym, or maybe you've done the Jimmy Stamp Trumpet book, has all these breath exercises in the beginning. There's just so many different things that as brass players and wind players we've probably all done. But this one there's just such a flow that you get into with the breath. It really starts to almost like go past maybe your comfort zone, and you're not going to pass out or anything like that. It's more of just like you become so heavily oxygenated that you really do feel it. And the app, he says, let the relaxation spread down through your fingertips and your toes, and you really do feel like that. And in terms of like what you do when you start your practice each day, I feel like there's nothing better than having that sort of deep sense of relaxation that will help your breathing, which will help your playing. So there's that part of it too, just all like the way that it affects your muscles.
That sounds good to me.
And then the last thing I wanted to say is when you're doing these exercises, there's also a clarity of mind that you get. It's sort of similar to meditation. So if you're someone who likes meditating and you feel like it's helpful in your practice, but at the same time you also, maybe want to do some breath exercises before you play your instrument, this is like a perfect combination of those two things. By the end of the third round at least, and if you do more than that, you feel even better, but definitely by the end of the third round, you have this very meditative kind of calm feeling. It's almost like the breath work sort of overtakes if you're someone who has a lot of thoughts and you really like want to kind of calm yourself before you play. This is a perfect thing for someone to do before they're practicing, for instance. So in my opinion, what I wanted to say in this video is if you are interested in doing Wim Hof as a way to improve your musicianship, specifically your breathing when you're playing your instrument, this gets like an A+. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope that you got some value out of this. If you did, go ahead and like it, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Take care.